Tom.
Brandon.
Do we have the most likable quarterback Super Bowl matchup ever?
I think we do. Oh, baby.
Oh,
Where it all began.
A certain animal made a certain noise, Tom.
Where it all began, it started as a meme in the offseason, and it was trending on Twitter last night.
Yeah.
And now they're in the mother-loving Super Bowl. I speak only of Kitty Goes Meow. Meow. That's it. KGM meow. In the house. GPS in the house. Tom Grossi, Brandon Perna with you for another edition of the Grossi Perna Show, or as the kids call it when they're texting on their flip phones and sidekicks, GPS.
Kids love to be safely navigated to football news.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they love.
That's it. That's it. That's what the kids are asking for. They're like, climate change? Nay. I look to Tom Grossi and Brandon Perna to navigate me through the dystopia that we live in. Nailed it.
They're like, TikTok? Nope. Give me GPS.
There you go.
Welcome, Dylan.
Oh.
Welcome, Dylan.
Oh, KK. That's, oof.
Hey.
If it makes you feel any better, I already got tagged in. Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers have the same amount of NFC Championship wins.
Yeah.
So that feels good. I
guess the question I have is, everybody loves Joe Burrow right now. Everybody loves Matthew Stafford because they're both kind of like underdogs, right? Stafford definitely is. Burrow was the first overall draft pick, but he's still an underdog coming off an injury. How many Super Bowls do one of those quarterbacks need to win before people turn on them and start to hate them for their success?
Well, Stafford's already being like Stafford. It's after this one. It's like, that's it. It's after this one because people hate the Rams so much and they hate their owner so much that like, they're like, okay,
cheers to
it's
that.
All right for Stafford. But as soon as he wins one, that team is irredeemable. Like they cannot have any more success. Burrow, I feel like he's got like 2 in him.
2 Super Bowls, and then people are like, you suck like Mahomes, you choke artist idiot.
Yep, that's about it, which is exactly what is going on right now. So, yeah. Dude, one person, they got the exact, do you see that? They got the exact scores of each game where they won like $500,000.
Yeah, I did see that just now on the toilet before the show.
There you go. Literally predict. So that person obviously has a sports almanac, and we're just living in there. And they use $20 in like site credit. So
yeah, I'm gonna steal that joke. Maybe. Can we get a photo of the man who placed that bet? Oh God, it's Biff Tannen. It's Biff Tannen.
That's it. Now, if you want to potentially turn $20 into $500,000,
$1,000.
Well, I don't think that's anymore. I mean, like you could pull off a crazy parlay. Can you do like a 4-season parlay? Like in which it's like, all right, these are the Super Bowl winners for the next 4 seasons.
Ooh, probably. That's some heavy future betting. I'm not sure.
All I'm saying, Perna, is like if you could do that, you go, okay, little one, I'm going to put you through college. I'm going to put an 18-year parlay down. And if it hits, well, then congratulations, you go to medical school 5 times. But if it doesn't, I have done no savings for you.
You are going to trade school, and you are going to learn to weld. You're going to be a welder. Why don't you pull out that fiery welding iron and weld yourself to DraftKings Sportsbook with the big game coming up in 2 weeks. 56-1 odds still happening. Put a little $5 bet on Rams or Bengals, whichever team you hot thinks will win the game. And for new customers, you can win $280 in free bets if your team is victorious. And I don't know who's going to win the game. Let me think about it. Before I give you my betting tips. Okay? I needed George Kittle to score the first touchdown for the 49ers last night, and I would have won like $1,200, but instead it was one Cooper Kupp. It was one Cooper Kupp. So thank you, Jamar Chase. Thanks for nothing, George. Hey, if you don't got the legal betting of sports in your state, don't forget to try out DraftKings Daily Fantasy Football. They've got millions of dollars in total prizes with DraftKings Daily Fantasy over there. So just download one on your phone. Use code GPS, and they're going to hook you up. Link below. Right down
By
there.
the way, if she becomes a welder, they make really good money. So, like, that's legit.
I know.
And
welding seems dangerous, but
especially if it's underwater, like, let's
go. No diving.
No dive. But I mean, like, that's the big bucks.
That's dangerous because you're like welding oil wells underwater.
Okay, so what? You might run into a giant squid. It happens. I've seen 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It'll be fine. It will be
just go
fine.
Live inside the belly of a whale for a year.
Yeah, that's called studying abroad. By the way, Brandon Perna got a 69.
Oh,
got a 69. There you go.
Thank you, Flatulent One. Thank you very much. What do we give for 69?
Oh, yeah. Just saying.
How about a classic?
You know, it really is the what-if game for the Buffalo Bills and the Green Bay Packers because we're just sitting back right now going, yeah, the Packers have beaten both teams in the Super Bowl. We're sitting there. We're like, oh, man, would be nice. I was calling the game yesterday, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, God, the Packers could have beat both these teams. But we didn't. It's not sour grapes. It's just thinking about it. And the Bills, man. Oh. It's just
well, credit the Bengals for doing what the Bills did not, and that's making adjustments on defense to appropriately slow down the Chiefs' offense. I think
in the second half.
in the second half, but like that's what they did. You see a lot of teams just stick to what they think they do best as opposed to like, hey, let's send 3 guys after Mahomes. Trust our big dudes to get some pressure. They switched from man to zone, and they gave Kansas City problems. Like a handful of 3 and outs. Their offense slowly chipped away, put points on the board, and they got the win. So I think like if you're going to look at Buffalo and they could have been in that game, and I think the Bills would have had a better chance to beat the Bengals. Their defense, their game plan, bad against the Chiefs, never adjusted, specifically late. So it sucks, but I think like there's one thing that bothers me too. It's like every team that gets to the championship game, just because they didn't win doesn't mean they choked. Doesn't mean they suck all of a sudden. It is a tough game. It is the toughest competition you get, and only one team can win the game. But it's like something as a Packers fan, you know all too well. Like maybe the team does or doesn't play their best football game there, but like just because they don't win doesn't mean they choked. And the amount of, maybe it's just social media is so prevalent. Like the amount of crap the losing team takes after losing one game away from the Super Bowl is just insane to me. It's insane. Okay. I don't know if it's going to work, Patriots talk. I think we got some different views on football, specifically team choices.
Well, it's funny because looking at, we all agreed heading into this weekend, if the Bengals somehow pulled off a win, it would be the biggest upset of the weekend. Because you look at the 49ers game, you look at the Rams, you're like, okay, like this is probably going to be like super duper close. Whoa! Video!
Pity.
What up, Betty? Boop!
Pity
Saying,
for
hey. Nice finding
Hey,
some GPS Live. Can't wait to see it. Oh, yeah. Clarify Q&A time. The person has to praise the other teams in their division while destroying their team. Nice.
Hey.
Boom.
There you go. In terms of the Bengals, that first half was abysmal for the Bengals. Like, it was everything that could have gone poorly went poorly. They had no run game except that one big run by Mixon. Was that in the first or second half? I don't even remember. But they had the one big run by Mixon. They couldn't get anything going. Down 21-3. They couldn't stop them. Patrick Mahomes' stats in the first half: 18 of 21, 220 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Crushed it. Moving with ease. And then there's a decision that's made right before half. You and I are calling the game, Brandon Perna.
Yeah. Well, before that, Samaje Perine breaks off a 41-yard touchdown on a screen.
Yes.
So you take out all of the weapons the
me.
Bengals have, and it's Perine sneaking into the end zone.
Yep.
That play saved the Bengals, as did their squib kick right after, which took a few seconds off the clock, which leads to where you want to go with this point, Tom.
Yeah.
The bonehead play by the Chiefs. What'd they do, Tom?
It's not even, you know what? It's not even the going for it that was bad. It was the play call that was called at the end of the half to throw behind the line and then go, make something happen. Makes absolutely no sense to me. They had 5 seconds left on the clock. Even if you take a quick shot, like on a slant or something into the end zone, maybe you have a second left, maybe you don't. But you're asking a lot of your receivers there when you could have just, 1, kicked the field goal, 2, at least taken a shot into the end zone. And if they ran it too, they were in. And that's another thing. Like, a lot of the people who are getting a blame for this game is Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid is getting a big chunk of it too, because they stopped running the football. McKinnon, who's been great during this playoff stretch, really emerged during the Steelers game because CEH was out, and now was running great. And then they just didn't run with him again. And that, going into that, trying to put the game away, wound up costing them.
Yeah.
And again, it was not only that decision, it was the play call that was called that really kind of sunk them. And that was like the beginning of the end, because after that, the Chiefs only scored 3 more points the entire game.
Yep. And why did they run out of time there? Because the Bengals squib kicked it. Bengals squib kicked it, taking a couple seconds off and it was actually a factor. Like, we joked about it at the time, but it turned into a factor there. Man, just take 3 points. Like, into the season, postseason, every damn point matters, especially this postseason, where almost every game's come down to the final play. You got too greedy. You're like, I get, like, let's just kill them now. If the Chiefs score a touchdown there, game's probably over.
I don't disagree with it. I disagree with the play call. Like, the play call was just one of the worst play calls you could have possibly called at that time.
I would have taken 3, but that's because I play conservatively like a coward. And
now, they also wasted a timeout, though, before the challenge. So, like, they called a timeout, then they challenged the play, and so they blew one there. What we thought was going to happen to the Rams, because Sean McVay challenging, oddly, blowing all their timeouts. And then, it got confusing real quick.
Sean McVay was like, I challenge you. Like, you're out of challenges. He's like, I want another one.
I want it. Yes.
It's like,
so
it was a false start. You can't challenge that, Sean. He's like, I don't care.
I still think that it was just an odd game for the Chiefs. And like their collapse is something that you usually see in other opponents, right? Who play the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like they're up big. You're like, okay, here we go. And then the Chiefs come roaring back. You think of the Texans a couple of years ago. You're like, this is what's going to happen. You don't think it's going to happen to the Chiefs, but man, to go back-to-back overtime games and they win the coin toss, which, by the way, they won the coin toss on all 3 of their OT games because they had one against the Chargers, they had one against the Bills, and then they had one here. And I thought that was it. And even before that, though, Mahomes almost lost the game because he fumbled the ball right before they kicked the tying field goal. So,
yeah. Oh, my God.
Bad half of football from Mahomes.
My big takeaway from that game, well, this postseason is like, you can't rattle Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
You cannot rattle that man. Yeah, he threw a bad pick in the second half when the Bengals had a chance to, maybe pull away from Kansas City. But there are a lot of quarterbacks that have the arm, they have the skill, they're great. Justin Herbert's a good example. But you cannot teach being calm under pressure. And
yeah,
the week before, sacked 9 times. They find a way to win. Defense gives them a chance. This week, down 14 twice to the Chiefs this year. The Bengals come back and win. Like, if the Bengals win a Super Bowl this year, and they continue to build their team, it's like Joe Burrow is going to, in my opinion, like emerge as the guy that nobody can beat because he's just too damn cool under pressure. And it's like, not everybody has that. I buckle under pressure. Like, doesn't matter if it's a video game. I start off first half of a video game playing well. Like, oh God, you're gonna break your kill record. Then I die 10 times.
Perna getting a 69-69.
Oh my God. David H. double 69s, which puts us back into missionary, David. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Like, it's just that makeup that, like, I think Tom Brady has it as well, where no matter what's happening in the game, late, you can count on him. And Joe Burrow's got a long way to go to continue to prove that. But early, he looks like you can't rattle him. Mahomes he plays the same way, but it just didn't land for the Chiefs. Not their year.
Hold on 1 second for David.
Oh, wow. Is that a pancreas?
It's like Green Bay Packers, so, that was it.
The pancreas.
It's a pancreas. Yeah, I mean, the Joe Burrow, I think I mentioned this yesterday, was the first time that I really watched Joe Burrow was his rookie season. So last year when he was on prime time against the Browns. And before that, I saw obviously some stuff from college, what have you, but I was sitting on my couch in the living room because I wasn't streaming that game. And I just watched how poised he was in the pocket. And the way he moved in the pocket, and the pocket was always collapsing. It was always collapsing with that offensive line. And I was like, oh, like this guy, he's different. Like he already looks like he's playing like a veteran and it's his, however many games in. And he got hurt, and to come back for that injury, is wild. No, Dylan, no. Is wild. And then to go even further and get, like you said, get sacked 9 times, still find a way to win. And then just staring down the Chiefs going, like, yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Right. He never looked rattled, not for a single second. And that is, like you said, something that you can't teach. You could teach footwork. You could teach, accuracy. You could teach arm strength. Like you could get better on all those things. Being poised in the pocket, immediately after college, that's crazy. And I think that for Burrow, as we said, you build a team around him, they're going to potentially be real, real scary.
Yeah, and they got cap space.
56 mil. 56.
Yeah. They can do it. It's just like the biggest hindrance for the Bengals moving forward is probably their ownership.
Yes.
Not historically great. Very cheap, but maybe now they win a Super Bowl, they find out that it's worth it, and maybe they can keep a good team around Burrow for a time, but
they get an indoor practice stadium finally.
Get an indoor practice field. But hey, maybe that outdoor makes you tougher. Maybe it makes you tough, ready to handle all the elements. I don't know.
It's funny because the Bengals are a team that I think we expected, like, okay, they'll beat the Raiders, right? They'll beat them. But then to go to Nashville, beat the Titans, which we all thought was possible.
Yeah.
But for them to then go and beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead down 21-3. Listen, as a Packers fan, this is something I know very, very well. If you have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl when not a single other team thinks you can, this is the time. This isn't like, because I've been saying, it's a win for the Bengals regardless, because we're talking about building a team around it. I thought the same exact thing when Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl in 2010. He's young. The team is young. They're going to be unstoppable. They're just going to get better throughout the draft. And guess what? He hasn't been back since. So
it's hard.
You have an opportunity now. If the Bengals are able to literally just snatch it from the Rams, take it. Because you have no idea. You have no idea injuries. You have no idea, cap space in the future. You have no idea, because it might just be the right time in which you went through the right teams. Because you look, the Packers could have been there. The Bills could have been there. 49ers, listen, if they had Jimmy G, who didn't have like his shoulder destroyed and his thumb destroyed, coming out in the post game saying like, I'm surprised this even held up. They could have been in there too. The Chiefs could be right back there. It is so difficult to win a championship. It's so difficult to win a Super Bowl ring in this league. And the Bengals are 4 quarters away from doing that in probably one of the most improbable ways possible.
I say 5 quarters, Tom.
They go into OT again.
Oh, we need overtime, baby. If we're going to stream it, they go into overtime. And that, like, your point, look at the Chiefs. AFC Championship loss, Super Bowl win, Super Bowl loss. Their line decimated for that Super Bowl against an incredible pass rushing unit, killed them. Championship loss. Like, the Chiefs are a great team. Probably the best team still in the NFL. And they could not get to the Super Bowl this year. Once the playoff starts, that's the cliche about any team can get there. It's true. Like, the pressure is magnified. The competition's upped. You just don't know what's going to happen. And that's like, it's why the NFL is so much fun to watch every postseason. Yeah. That's why what the Patriots did is like so incredibly impressive.
And that's why it's frustrating, because that's the bar.
Stretch. Yeah, they had a stretch in the middle there though. Like, they win those 3 Super Bowls? They win 3 Super Bowls, or 2 or 3 Super Bowls. And then they lose a couple of the Giants, have trouble getting back, and then they go back and start winning late. It took a long time for them to amass all those Super Bowl victories. So, yeah, since you got to, this is your window, it's the same for the Rams. It's their window.
Yeah.
And unlike Cincinnati, the Rams, they really got to refigure out their team every offseason because of the way they construct their Super Bowl roster. But, Stafford getting there, people are pulling for that. And look how long he was in the NFL. He was, with the bad organization for so long, and now he's got a chance.
Yes.
And he's got to win it. Otherwise, he's just Jared Goff again.
Not yet, KK. Not yet, but close. But that's a good transition, KK. Well, that's the thing. And this is what drives me insane, because, for example, it's already there and saying, hey, Stafford and Rodgers have the same amount of Super Bowl appearances. If there is any quarterback in the NFL that demonstrates that wins are not a QB stat, it is Matthew Stafford. Yeah. He literally spent all those years in Detroit. And then the first year he goes to LA and is like, look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? It like completely different. And Stafford had a turnover yesterday, right? It came out his first one of the postseason.
Yeah.
But
In the red zone, too. Bad pick.
Yep.
Bad pick.
Crushed him. But again, it doesn't matter because like the Bengals, like people are looking at this and going, this is a weird Super Bowl. It is weird. It's 4 seeds. It's
unlikely.
Again, we haven't had it like ever, right? And back-to-back years, we're having both teams playing in their home stadium in a Super Bowl, which is weird. Everything about it is weird. Like if you said the Bengals, who had a top 5 pick last year, they were like, oh yeah, they're going to be in the Super Bowl this year. You lost your damn mind.
Yeah.
And now like the Bengals legitimately have a shot to win because I feel like how can you bet against them? It doesn't matter the matchup. It doesn't matter if Joe Burrow gets sacked 25 times. It doesn't matter if they have no run game. It doesn't matter because they have found a way to win. There we go. Kitty goes meow.
Kitty.
But yeah, good for the Bengals. Chiefs, again, you look at windows and a lot of people said this because they were chirping when Mahomes won his first Super Bowl. They said they're going to have a better career than Aaron Rodgers ever did. That was said a lot after Mahomes won his first Super Bowl. And you look at it and you look at that contract getting bigger and bigger. And we always thought like the Chiefs were going to be dominant. And I still think they are going to be a very good football team. Don't get twisted. However, it just goes to show how difficult it is to not only get back to the dance, but also win. So,
yeah. And when you get to the dance, you got to be able to dance. I mean,
gotta be able to dance.
Then you got to convince a woman to dance with you. It's hard. It's scary, guys.
It's very scary. Kurt Benkert said it when I was talking to him this week. He said, in the playoffs, you can't let these teams hang around. And the Chiefs let the Bengals hang around, and they got beat. The Packers let the 49ers hang around. They got beat. The 49ers let the Rams hang around. They got beat. You know, it just Titans and Bengals. It's the same exact thing. They let these teams hang around in the postseason. You have a good chance you're going to lose.
What's funny too, it's like fan bases. Like right now, I think everybody's behind the Bengals fan base. Like you pay attention, they're just happy to be there. You know what I mean? Chiefs fans, probably not as liked right now on social media because they expect to get back to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
And nobody likes an opposing fan who has the audacity to believe they can go to the Super Bowl every year. So Bengals fans got all the love right now. The Rams kind of got it because everybody's pulling for Stafford. But then there's this weird thing I'm seeing where it's like there's just 2 teams left. People got to pick one to root for. And the whole like underdog mentality where you're like, you weren't with us from the beginning. Don't root for us now. Okay, you want me to go root for the other fucking guys? Because I will. You better be trying to get my loyalty to pull for your team. You better open your heart for love and just like accept that if your team goes to the Super Bowl, there's going to be a lot of bandwagon people coming along to root for them because there's just one football game left. Embrace it, especially if you're a player. If you're a player talking about it, welcome them. Say, jump on the bandwagon. We're going to the Super Bowl. The more, the merrier. It's like a weird, I don't know. It's probably pride. And I get it. Bengals fans lived in misery for a long time. It's like, hey, you're coming in with us when things are good. It's not like that people are Bengals fans, but they want to pull for you. Let them. Because they're not going to do it again. If you win, they're not going to do it again. You know, unless you're playing an enemy in the Super Bowl. There's no villain in this Super Bowl.
No.
Unless Aaron Donald chokes somebody.
That's true. Win a fitty. Brace for Super Bowls against the Rams. Ooh.
Good
Joe
point,
Burrow
Dane.
can start off the same way. Do you mean this?
Meow.
Nailed it.
Now, 49ers got an interesting decision to make now. This is what I'm really fascinated by.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jimmy G getting a ton of love today, rightfully so. Played through the shoulder, the thumb.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the 49ers would be silly to bring Jimmy G back for another season. Not just because they can get something for him now, but because I believe Trey Lance can get you 20 passing touchdowns and 12 interceptions. That's what Jimmy G did through the season. He had a nice run there where he's playing very good football. Gets injured. He was the worst quarterback in the playoffs. I think you can optimistically expect better out of Trey Lance. And if you can't, you shouldn't have traded away all those picks to get him. And I guess a lot of people say, like, yeah, bring Jimmy G back for another year. Trey can sit for 2. You'll be fine and move on from Jimmy after. Right now, you can get something for Jimmy. You can give your team more pieces, and maybe you don't get back to where you did with Trey Lance right now. But I don't know. Like, I think it'd be crazy for San Francisco to bring him back. And I like Jimmy G. I just don't think he does enough to put them over the top. Give him the edge.
It's ceilings, right? Like, that's what it is. Yeah. It's the ceiling of a Lions fan to be happy today.
He's a ranch-style house, and they need a cathedral-level ceiling, which he just doesn't have.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at what Jimmy G could do, especially this is like the fourth quarter, abysmal, right? And he wasn't really great. He got them against the Packers. He got them into field goal range, and that was like the best thing he did in the fourth quarter of the entire playoffs. But he was terrible in this past game. He was bad against the Cowboys. He threw a costly interception there. I will give a lot of props to Jimmy G, especially him coming out, literally saying, like, I can tell the truth now in that press conference, saying, like, I'm beat to hell. Like, I am beat up, shoulders bad, thumb is bad, everything. Right? So I think that when you're looking at Jimmy G, you can appreciate what you have. They were close to a Super Bowl. They were 10 points up. And I think it's just a matter of, okay, it's because you traded the farm to get him, meaning Trey Lance. You traded all of that. You didn't play him a lot this year. And so now, where you just went to the NFC Championship game, you could argue, like, is Jimmy G's stock up or down? You could argue maybe because the injury, like, it helps. But in some situations, he was clutch. He was good. I think it's time to move on from Jimmy G, though, because otherwise, what the hell did you do to make that trade?
Yeah, and like Trey Lance brings like a level of athleticism that I think Kyle Shanahan can take advantage of and make that offense really hard to defend. Like they're already super creative.
Yep.
And then you throw in the fact that maybe Trey Lance can play action, run. You can do the outside zone, bootleg him out, and you've got to defend a pass and a rush there. Like you can do a lot.
And they had no Raheem Mostert. They had no Mostert all season. Like their main guy, and now they have Elijah Mitchell back there. They've been utilizing Deebo Samuel. They're going to be a scary run team because it's like you said, like, hey, Lance want to take it. Mostert want to take it. Samuel want to take it. Their pre-snap motions are one of the best in the NFL. So they're going to be a good team. If they can keep that team together and Trey Lance can even be a Jimmy G, but you have that mobility aspect there, they're going to be just fine.
I think there's the upside there. And we'll get into the Rams after I do this DraftKings thing. And I want to start with like what the Rams did that was impressive was shut down the 49ers run.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to have a run of your own.
There it is.
DraftKings Sportsbook. Please submit that for the official DraftKings jingle, baby. Look, we got a Super Bowl coming up. 2 weeks to really foreplay our way to the biggest sporting event of the year. And if you've got $5 and you're a new customer at DraftKings and you're signing up with the code GPS, you can take that $5. You can bet on the Rams. You can bet on the Bengals. And if that team wins the Super Bowl, you're going to turn that into $280 in free bets. Free bets. And I think that guy who won $524,000, I think he was doing it on a bonus bet. I don't know if it was through DraftKings.
It was not through DraftKings.
Oh, well, he should have done it through DraftKings. He would have won even more somehow. I don't know how math works. He could have been a billionaire. He would be Steve Jobs and Elon Musk right now.
Yep.
I want to see one of those guys do $1 billion sports bet. Imagine that. What can you even bet $1 billion?
Is there a maximum? I feel like there's a maximum.
Probably. Man, if I were a billionaire, I would set aside like $1 million every year to just do crazy parlay sports bets. Code GPS, link in the description. If you don't got the legal sports bettings, do the DraftKings fantasy app. One fantasy game left for you to do in the Super Bowl. Just 2 teams to pick from and tons of exciting skill play. Like you got Cooper Kupp in there. You got Jamar Chase. Like all of these guys can have huge games. So check it out. DraftKings takes care of us. GPS, you take care of them. And then we take care of you.
I don't think so, Cerebral. I don't think so at all. I don't think they're going after him. Jimmy G? Definitely not. No. Now, question for you.
I shall answer.
A lot of things have been said about the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers and how Aaron Rodgers is 0-4 against the 49ers in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's their kryptonite.
Yep. What is the 49ers record after beating Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs?
Oh, what a stat of the day. 0-4? Hey.
Sorry. I'm looking for tiny little pockets of joy. I got to find them where I can. I really got to find them where I'm reaching a little bit, but just
reaching around.
That's it.
Doing the reach
All right,
around.
talk about the Rams. Yes, they shut down the run. And also, I think the more surprising thing, the more surprising thing is the fact that when you had the Packers game, all the pressure that got after Jimmy Garoppolo, sacking him numerous times, especially in the first half, not a single sack for the Rams. Not a single one.
No, they played the run. They held San Francisco to like 50 rushing yards or something. And they said Jimmy is going to have to beat us with his banged up arm. And it didn't happen. Now, they were a dropped interception away from possibly winning that game. To be fair, the Rams had the Cooper Kupp had a bad drop, and the tight end. What's his name? His name's really.
The Rams almost picked off Jimmy G too. That's the thing. There was so much
Jalen
time
Ramsey
left in that game with Hart.
Yeah, the Rams miss a field goal. They drop a touchdown pass. The Rams, if anything, if they lost that game, they would have beat themselves. But the Niners offense works when they're able to run the ball, and they just weren't able to do it. They held Debo to under 100 total yards. And then at the end of the game, pressure came. And it forced that game-ending pick by Garoppolo. And I just think the Rams' defensive performance probably going to is a little bit underrated in that game. The sacks weren't there, but
their defense definitely locked down the 49ers, especially in the fourth quarter. My question is, Debo Samuel, I think it was 12 minutes left or 10 minutes left in the game, never touched the ball again. He barely, I just don't know. He's your best player on the team. Why are you not giving him the football or giving him an opportunity, even if you're just running with him? Because how many plays did you see that should not have been anything? They give it to Debo and he just takes off running.
Yeah.
Right. Or those little dump off passes, they turn into 10 yards.
He's special.
It just didn't make sense to me at all. But I don't know. The Rams now in the Super Bowl. By the way, there was a lot of 49ers fans there yesterday. There were a lot. There was a lot of red there. But do you think they're even going to be the home team, in terms of fan bases there? I think if you're Cincinnati, you haven't been to in 31, 32 years, you and the family are going, even though the tickets are $8,000. The family's going. It's we're selling off the house so we could go and flood SoFi Stadium.
I think there's going to be a lot of people at that game who don't care who wins. It's in LA. The tickets are ridiculous. The city is filled with celebrities and all that crap. And there's going to be a lot of people there. Even though it's LA, they don't really care about the Rams. They're all from different places. That's why they're in LA. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it will be like a hostile crowd one way or another. But, yeah, if they can, I think Bengals fans will show up. But I wouldn't expect it to be too favorable one way or the other. And maybe a lot of LA people root for the Rams just because it's LA. But I don't know. It's a weird home Super Bowl where there's no advantage, in my opinion, to the home team.
Can we have DraftKings send us there and we dress like cats?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Like Andy Bernard on that episode of The Office when he comes in as the cats from Halloween. Or from, the Broadway
Our
play.
buttholes will not be edited out.
No.
Nope.
Oh, the Joe Mixon fumble, eh?
No,
I don't.
Come on now. Come on now.
He was down.
You don't let me Rob score more than 3 points in the second half. Come on now.
Yeah. If you're gonna lay on the Bills for like should have stopped this in 13 seconds.
Come on now.
Shouldn't be looking to a play where the refs ruled Joe Mixon gave himself up.
And you still got the ball in OT. Come on now.
You got the ball first. Everything went your way. No sympathy for Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was true. Yep, that is true. But anyway.
What about this?
So now, the Rams 49ers game, though, a lot is being talked about how the Rams went all in, right? And you and I were talking about this last week about how that was a potentially new formula for how they did. Because there was a stat last night, since it's 20, I don't remember how many years ago it was, they've given up like a crap ton of first round picks, whether it's for trades for players, what have you.
Right.
Like they've given up a ton. However, there's a fun stat on the Twitters that I just saw. Despite the way people look at the Rams, they actually ranked 6th in the NFL in homegrown players. They had the most drafted players in the NFL on their roster this year. That's been overshadowed by the big trades. That's from Jason OTC. So,
well, I think they don't have any other choice, though. Whoever we do draft, we ain't cutting that guy.
We have no one left.
Yeah.
We have no one left. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Rams are in an interesting spot because obviously OBJ, how freaking clutch has he been for that team? Holy crap.
Pretty clutch.
You know who the happiest man on the planet is right now? OBJ's dad.
Yeah.
100%. He's like, I'm so glad I made that video and rescued my son, because the Browns, they didn't make it. But people are already, they're chirping at me and they're saying, hey, OBJ made the right decision. And I was like, thanks. Appreciate that.
Well,
maybe if OBJ was on the Packers, they'd be in the Super Bowl too.
I don't think we ever said OBJ. Oh, because he didn't go to the Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He made the right decision to leave the Browns. Credit Von Miller for helping lure him to the Rams. And Von, oh my God, Von, get another Super Bowl MVP.
He already got a Super Bowl ring, Perna. Does he really need another one?
No, I said MVP. I want him to become the first defensive player in NFL history with 2 Super Bowl MVPs. How cool would that be?
How's he going to get that? He has to get a ring, Perna.
He's got to sack Joe Burrow 10 times. Sorry, Joe. I will root for Vaughn over Joe Burrow, but man, I really don't I really want Vaughn, but I won't be mad if Joe Burrow gets in the Bengals get a win. I won't be mad. They are rootable. They are a rootable team.
Yeah. Von
Miller's a rootable guy.
Matthew Stafford, rootable guy. I am happy for Matthew Stafford. I'm not happy for the Rams. That's how it comes down to. I'm happy for Stafford. The organization, I'm just like, meh.
I'm just so indifferent to the Rams as a team.
So is their fan base. That's why there's so many 49ers fans 100%. There. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You also have the first 4 seed versus 4 seed, right? You don't see that every day.
Wow.
There you go. A little craziness that's going on there. And even right now, I'm looking at this game. I'm like, oh yeah, the Rams should win this game. But that's exactly how I felt about the Chiefs. The Titans, I was like, I don't know. And then like the Raiders, I was like, yeah, the Bengals are probably going to win.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, I don't know. They've come back from everything. They've come back from being sacked a cajillion times.
Yeah, they've
come back from 21-3.
Like,
Why
what are
not
the
the
Rams
Bengals?
going to do that they're not ready for? That's like the question.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to sack Joe Burrow 8 times? Join the club.
But
Join the club.
Yeah. And I mean, the Rams did do a very good practice at getting a big lead and then doing everything you can to destroy that lead, but still winning.
Yep.
So both of these teams they've prepared in different ways to be. The Rams are very, very well prepared to get a lead and then lose it, but hang on. So I don't know. It's going to be a fun game. Not the most popular Super Bowl. It won't be.
No.
I mean, it's got to be a classic for people to really get behind this Super Bowl afterwards. But
I hope it goes in OT.
God, me too. And as long as the Rams go out there and score more than 3 points, like they did in the last Super Bowl, we'll be all right.
And you mentioned this too, and Unculture just mentioned it also. Joe Burrow gets points just because he saved us from Jackson Mahomes. So,
oh my God, yeah. My take from this was I get people get very annoyed with Jackson and Brittany Mahomes, and because they're annoying. It's like there's no way around it. They're just annoying on social media. Now, usually, if somebody annoys you on social media, you just don't follow them, right?
I don't.
So they're out of your life. The problem with them is everybody's going to post their stuff. So even if you don't follow either of those people, which neither you nor I do,
nope,
we're going to see them in our feed because they get reposted and reposted and reposted. And that's truly why they become like an elite tier level of annoying to fans, because you can't get away from them. Because then you got to block everybody who's posting them, but you don't want to block those people because they're fans of your stuff. So you're in a weird situation where you can't keep them out of your life. So yes, Joe Burrow did the world a service. We won't hear from him.
I literally didn't know about Jackson Mahomes until 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea who he was. I didn't care. I was like, so I don't know. And then unfortunately.
Yeah. And if you would just take some like dance lessons and get good at dancing, at least you could be like, well, there's some talent there. He's doing some stuff I couldn't do. But I mean, he's living the social media life you and I would like to live, where you just do this and like 100,000 people are like, yep. But you also got 100,000 people being like, you suck. So I don't know. It's kind of a double-edged sword, Tom.
That's when you turn the comments off. Isaac says, Getsy. No, Getsy's a good grab for the Bears. It's definitely a good grab for the Bears. So I just think it's funny that a lot of Bears fans are like, Aaron Rodgers chokes. What do you think Getsy did? What do you think his job was in Green Bay? Just asking for
to teach Aaron Rodgers to choke.
That's it. Yep, that's it.
So Justin Fields getting set up for a huge choke job.
Nailed it. And not in the fun way.
Not in the fun way.
I wanted to talk about this, Perna, because I was looking at the roads to the Super Bowl for both teams, and I kind of wanted to get your opinion on which one do you think is more impressive. So for the Bengals, you had one home game against the Raiders, which arguably, by the way, we're in the bottom of my power rankings both weeks because it was like, they almost lost against the Raiders. They almost lost against the Titans. They go to Nashville, take on the Titans, and then they go into Arrowhead to beat the Chiefs. The Rams, they destroy the Cardinals at home. Then they go to Tampa and knock off Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Tristan Wirfs being out did that help the Rams. And then they have a home game against the 49ers, who have beaten them 6 straight times. So out of those two teams, which one are you looking at going like, that's the more impressive road to the bowl?
That is tough. That is tough. Probably the Bengals, I guess. I would say overall, the Rams, not the Bengals. The Chiefs, I think the Chiefs are just that good that win alone puts them over the edge. And I think if you look at the whole season, the Bengals had the most unlikely path to the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
You got your quarterback coming off the ACL injury. Your offensive line, not great. Still true, but they did a damn fine job against the Chiefs. The Rams, because of the talent they have, you expect them to be good. You expected them to win. And yes, the win against Tampa was impressive, but I was never sold on the Cardinals this year, so that win doesn't really impress me. And the 49ers, they're a gritty team, but they were a beatable team. So I'm much less surprised that the Rams are in the Super Bowl than the Bengals. So I'd say the Bengals road more difficult. That's why, there's the infrastructure bill. Like they went through some dicey roads, bridges. Luckily, didn't have to go through Pittsburgh. And Bengals, Super Bowl, very impressive. Very impressed that they're there. Underdogs, they are.
Lions could be good. I think they're going to be limited by Goff, but they could be pretty good. Yeah, I think it's the Bengals, and the simple reason is not only because of the opponents that they beat, but the Rams. People were saying in the beginning of the year that they're a Super Bowl caliber team.
Yeah.
Then they got Von Miller. Then they got OBJ. Like they were built for the playoffs. Like specifically, like was built for it.
Yeah.
The Bengals were a top 5 draft pick. Like everyone knew, like, yeah, listen, if we could have a winning record this year, oh man, like that'd be great. That'd be stupendous. And now they're in the Super Bowl. So I think they have glaring holes on their team and they still made it to the Super Bowl. Which again, if you're sitting back and you're a fan of the 30 other franchises and you're looking at this and you're like, okay, what can I take away? What can I copy from these teams? Because they're completely different. The Rams mortgaged their future. They went and got a big free agent in Matthew Stafford, loaded up on free agents, what have you. And then the Bengals, they're a team that was essentially rebuilding. They have a rookie QB. It's completely different ideologies here, right? Super duper cheap and spending a whole lot of money. So I think the only takeaway you can have is just how chaotic and random the NFL can actually be. And sometimes you just go on a run and it's your time and that's it. Like that's how it goes, because you can't look at both of these teams and go, okay, yeah, I could take this away and say this is what works. Besides having a good quarterback. That's it. That's really the only takeaway that I can imagine, because the Bengals defense is not elite by any stretch of the imagination, right? The Rams have a nice front line, but their secondary, in terms of both their secondaries, can get burned. I think that it's funny because you have polar opposite teams meeting here. The Bengals shouldn't be here by all measures, analytics, on paper, but they are. And they have a chance to win the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I think it's just the Bengals, just purely out of what their expectations were, the teams they went through, and what kind of team they actually fielded.
Yeah, they exceeded expectations. Okay. I'll say the Bengals defense has gelled in the playoffs. It's not filled with these elite tier playmakers outside of maybe Trey Hendrickson, but they've got solid players on all levels, and really their secondary has been much better than I expected they would be in the postseason. I mean, Eli Apple's kind of all over the place, but
oh god,
he made plays. He's gotten burned, but he's also made plays. And then the amount of crap he talks on Twitter afterwards is hilarious. I mean, just adding Kelsey and Tyreek Hill over and over again, talking trash to him. And he dropped a pick, but Von Bell gets it on the next play. 2 former Saints. It's, there's a lot to root for. And they're the linebackers, Logan Wilson, underrated. So there's playmakers on all 3 levels, but yeah, their defense has been a surprise. We knew their offense was legit. And even when the offense hasn't been performing outside of the first half, that Chiefs game, the defense has kept them in it. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to think about who can win the Super Bowl and how they can win it. Burrow and Stafford, to me, are equally talented, equally great. Like, what's fun about them, what we're hoping for in the Super Bowl is just a deep ball off. Both guys like to take the shots. I'm a little worried about Stafford because he's done it like every game where he throws a deep ball and he's about 10 yards short. And you don't think of Stafford in lacking arm strength, but that pass that should have been picked off by Tart was Stafford couldn't put enough
literally thrown right
on it. Yeah, he had his guy, and if he hits him in stride, it's probably a touchdown. So I don't think Joe Burrow will make that mistake. That could be the difference in the game. But until then, there's going to be a lot of news that probably happens through the next couple of weeks. I wanted to point out that the Jags wanted to interview Rams offensive coordinator, Kevin O'Connell, but they can't because they didn't put the notice in time. So now the Jags are interviewing Rich Bisaccia as the Raiders have hired Josh McDaniels. So the Jags, congratulations. Well on your way to three-peating as having the first pick in the draft.
When do you think they just start drafting QBs with every first round, like every first overall pick, and then just start trading them?
Oh,
they're like, whatever one works out, we'll just trade the other two.
Yeah, because, there'll be a number one pick for quarterback in the next draft for sure. That's what's crazy. You got Trevor Lawrence. Would you trade Lawrence, though, and then draft the next guy? Like, how do you do it?
I think the best part that is going to, because now this game is going to get talked into the ground, like 1,000,000%. We're going to find out that Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford, like they had the same babysitter back in 1990. No, they don't even know if Burrow was born then. But anyway, like it's going to get talked into the ground. But I think it should be a fun Super Bowl because both teams are completely unpredictable. And what I mean by that is the Bengals might not show up for a first half. The Rams might not show up for the second half. Like there might be interceptions because both QBs could absolutely, make bad decisions. It's just going to be a good time. Like, I just hope it's a fun Super Bowl. And yeah, like you said, it's not going to be like the highest rated Super Bowl, but
yeah,
I just hope it's damn good.
Maybe BJ Hill gets another interception. Nobody saw that one coming. BJ Hill being the pick difference for the Bengals.
Yep.
Just crazy. I love when defensive linemen get picks. When they tip it to themselves, too, it's
the athleticism is wild.
It's one of my favorite plays.
By the way, former Green Bay Packer could, win it all. Mike Daniels of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
Love me some Mike Daniels. But
wow.
We'll see. We got 2 long weeks to go until the Super Bowl. We had over 4,100 people in here today on a Monday for G frickin' S. Crushed it. Yes.
Whoa.
DMD, baby. DMD. Perna's like, wrestling.
I don't know wrestling. Tom?
Sorry. Anything else to add?
No. It's so crazy when you're just talking about 2 games on a Monday.
It is. Wednesday's going to be interesting.
Wednesday will be fun. We got 2 strong weeks and then Super Bowl, and then we'll see what happens.
And then we see if the kitty goes meow.
Then we see what Aaron Rodgers decides.
I'm not looking forward to this offseason. I'm not looking forward to it. By the way, the fact that we were robbed of Crosby versus McPherson too, I'll never forgive the world for that.
Ooh. Yeah, McPherson, another guy. Just clutch. A rookie kicker being that clutch in the postseason.
They drafted.
Crazy. They drafted. Only kicker drafted. Crazy.
Yep.
Man, yeah. Kickers are important. Don't forget it.
But Brandon Perna, what do you got coming out today?
I got the best and worst of championship weekend. I said I would get it up last night. I ran out of time. I haven't even shot it yet, but I'm going to shoot it right after this. And I'm going to give you guys the most delicious recap you've ever seen. Tom dropped the Chiefs fans' reaction to the game. Make sure you check that out. Tom, what do you got coming today? 10, 20 videos? How many? 30?
40?
Just do a video a minute.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, I think I'm going to drop the 49ers fan reaction today. I also need to start writing the West reaction, which is going to be the finale, because I honestly didn't think, I thought I had more time. I really thought I had more time because I really thought the Chiefs were going to win. But here we are. And now Lewis is going to be the winner. And that's it.
Yes.
And that's it. But folks,
listen, like and subscribe, you dirty animals. That is good advice. All right,
appreciate you, folks. Turn out we'll be back on Wednesday for another edition of GPS. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And you have been navigated.
And you've reached your destination, which if you're the Rams and the Bengals is the Super Bowl.